As always, Freddie Coleman from ESPN joins us here on Big Board Sports on the Friday show as we get you set for another big weekend in the NFL. We're up to Week 11. The Steelers looked awfully good last night. Before I get to McAdoo and the Giants, let's start there. Good morning, Freddie Coleman. How are you?
I'm good, Mr. Roger Wildman. How are you, my man?
I'm good, my friend. I am good. I am a Steeler fan, I will tell you that. I'm a guy born and raised in Pennsylvania, so I did grow up with the terrible town and the Steelers, and they looked awfully good last night. A team that I think you would have to consider to make a deep run in the postseason. That offense looked great, and their defense is pretty good as well.
I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any doubt about that with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And to your point, that Steelers defense, I knew it was going to be pretty good this year, but they're so fast, they're so aggressive. They can make plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage. When you can get 5 sacks and 4 interceptions in a game against a pretty good Titans offense, you're doing some things. The only concern I have about Pittsburgh, and I call this the triangle of who can't beat who, they're in the heads of the Kansas City Chiefs, but the New England Patriots in the heads of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So when these two get together, meaning the Steelers and the Patriots, a couple of weeks from now, I can't wait to see how that's going to develop because they have not had success against the Patriots, whether it's been in the regular season or in the playoffs consistently.
All right, let's get to the Giants here. What did you make of the Ben McAdoo? Let's everybody get together.
Hang on a second, Freddie. A few weeks ago, I said to you, I'm so tired of asking you whether or not you think the Giants can turn this around. So you yelled at me, then quit asking me. So now yell at Roger for asking you more about the Giants' mess.
This is different. Roger's not asking me if the Giants can turn it around. We know that's not going to happen.
I'm not asking that. I'm just going to ask you, what is Ben McAdoo's purpose here? Obviously, it's just saving his job, I guess, because the big story with the Giants this week is, hey, he got the whole team together, which doesn't usually happen with the head coach, and he just put up the film to let all these guys realize just how lousy they were in San Francisco.
Well, one thing that Ron Jaworski, when he worked with us, he told me that I thought was pretty on point. You may go into a team meeting with one problem, but then you'll come out of it with 53 problems because everybody is going to speak. And so I wonder how much of that was prevalent when the Giants got together. Ben McAdoo, when you talk about grasping at straws, that's exactly what he's doing to what you said, Roger, about saving his job. But if you're going to have a team meeting and you're going to let the press know you had a team meeting, I don't think you read from a prepared statement saying exactly what went on in that team meeting, because I know if I'm a player, I'm thinking, okay, you have to let the press know what's going on, but not to that level of what was said, even if it's an outliner in that team meeting. So I don't know what his purpose was, trying to bring guys together in terms of hoping that was going to work. But I know if I'm a player and I'm thinking, okay, what happens with a team meeting is supposed to stay there, and then you put it out there, the specifics of what we talked about. How's that building trust in you with your team and having your team continue to trust in you?
Yeah, it is. It is a complete mess, and grasping at straws, and now Kansas City on Sunday, and that should not go well.
Freddie, what doesn't Ben McAdoo get? Because I've never seen a head coach throw his quarterback under the bus so quickly. We saw it in the preseason, and then early on in the regular season, and now you're talking about kind of the unwritten rules of behind closed door stuffs in the NFL. It's not like Ben McAdoo wasn't at least an assistant coach along the way. What is it that he doesn't understand about the coach-player relationship?
Boy, that's a really good question. And based on what I've seen in the last year and a half of him being a head coach of the Giants, I just wonder if Ben McAdoo handles adversity well, because he didn't have to worry about that last year. No one knew what kind of coach Ben McAdoo was going to be. He had never been a head coach at any level, whether NFL or otherwise. So no one had an idea what he was going to bring to the table. Then the Giants go 11-5, surprised everybody. They were really good defensively, and they weren't bad offensively, despite the lack of a running game and an offensive line. He didn't have to worry about going through any adversity, even when they lost in the playoffs to the Green Bay Packers. Now, with all the expectation that people had, not for the Giants just to win the division, but maybe being a team coming out of the NFC and getting to the Super Bowl, when things unraveled early, week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys, they only scored 3 points, and it didn't get any better from there. I don't think Ben McAdoo handled adversity the right way, where all of a sudden, instead of trying to find a way to band a team together, it seemed that he would throw Eli Manning under the bus after a Monday Night Football game against the Lions. Or he suspends Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie because Cromartie didn't like the way that things were going, and he was going to voice his opinion on that. I think by the way he handled any kind of turbulence and did not handle it the right way, that's what I think he does not get, that you're going to go through these tough times, but that doesn't mean you put the blame on anybody else. You have to take responsibility as well, especially when you're the head coach.
Freddie Coleman with us here from ESPN and with us every Friday on Big Board Sports as we get set for Week 11 in the NFL. How surprised were you, Freddie, of Sean McDermott's decision this week to change quarterbacks and bench Tyrod Taylor and go with the rookie going to L.A. to take on the Chargers?
This is a head-scratching move because you're still in the 6th spot in the playoff race in the AFC, and the Buffalo Bills have not made the playoffs in 17 years. And Tyrod Taylor, I know he has not played well the last couple of weeks, but he's been playing better than anybody could have anticipated with a new offense in the running game that the Buffalo Bills have with LaShawn McCoy. My sense is the reason that he decided to do this was he doesn't believe that Tyrod Taylor can make the Buffalo Bills any better than they are 5-4. This was a quarterback that he inherited, not a quarterback that he drafted in Nathan Peterman. Now, that's asking a lot of Nathan Peterman. We're not talking about a guy that was drafted in the first 3 rounds of the draft this year. He is a 5th-round pick out of Pittsburgh, and is he good or is he not good? We'll find out starting this Sunday when they play the Chargers. But it's a head-scratching move because if you're a team member in that locker room, if you're anybody in that organization, you're saying to yourself, boy, Sean, this better work. Because if it doesn't work, you have to wonder and look at him and say, okay, you made that decision, it didn't work out. But the decision didn't seem to make a lick of sense when you have a quarterback who has been a proven guy compared to everybody else, and you decided to cut bait with him and go with an untested rookie who we're going to find out what he's all about. But why take that chance when you're still in the playoff hunt in the AFC?
Freddie, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I am loving this showdown between Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell. It's nothing like, when 2 rich guys really fight over some, quote, contract demands, $49.5 million and the lifetime use of a private jet from Goodell. Look, I know we all know this goes back to the Ezekiel Elliott suspension from Jerry Jones' point of view. But who, at the end of the day, is going to win this showdown? Because Jerry Jones is not on the committee that will approve Roger Goodell's contract.
Well, we're going to win because we're going to keep talking about it because it's really, really good. I mean, Michael Leafs of SportsCenter said this morning it's another edition of As the Owners Turn on the Rich and the Restless, and I thought that was entirely on point, what he had to say. I will say this, gentlemen. The owners brought this on themselves, and here's why. You should never allow anybody to believe that they had that much power and influence over the other owners in the National Football League. So they've gotten what they deserve by allowing Jerry Jones and anybody else part of the ownership group in the NFL to believe this is the guy that's our leader. This is the guy that we lean on. This is the guy that's going to continue to make us money. If you're Roger Goodell, who is a mouthpiece and a representative of the owners, you're saying to yourself, well, wait a minute. When everything was going good, and there are plenty of times when things were not going good, I'm the one out in front speaking for you guys because I work for you. So now this comes up, and Jerry Jones is not going to back down. He is determined to win as many battles, as many rounds as he can in this fight versus Roger Goodell and his contract extension. And it's not, and people have to remember this, it's not as if he does not want Goodell to get extended, but he wants to slow down the process, and he doesn't want to pay Roger Goodell the kind of money and give him the kind of benefits that he wants. But it all stems from the fact that Ezekiel Elliott got suspended, and Jerry Jones, apparently, according to reports, was led to believe from Roger Goodell that was not going to happen. If you're Jerry Jones, you signed off on the commissioner having the power, church and state, to mete out discipline when it comes to the players. You're okay with it when Robert Kraft and Tom Brady had to deal with the 4-game suspension Deflategate. Now because your butt hurt that your guy's out for 6 weeks, now you don't want to think that Roger Goodell's doing a good job. But the owners brought this on themselves because they allowed Jerry Jones to have that kind of leverage and that kind of influence among their ownership group, especially when it comes to the powers of the commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah, and you're right, Freddie. I mean, if the Goodell makes a different decision on Elliott, none of this is being talked about. In fact, prior to that, Jerry Jones's quote is saying he's a good guy. The commissioner's doing a good job. He said that this summer, and now look where we stand.
Yeah, and here's the deal. And honestly, I don't think it should have been a 6-game suspension. I'm thinking 3 games tops. But what helps Jerry Jones, Roger, in this situation is the reports came out that the NFL lead investigator, she told Roger Goodell and the people in charge of this that she didn't see anything that Ezekiel Elliott should be suspended for. So, the minute that report got out there, Jerry Jones is probably thinking, well, hey, if she said it, then that means it's going to be true and the NFL is going to take her advice. The NFL ignored her advice. You know why? Because they can. she did a job for them, but they didn't believe what she was telling them. So they have a right to make that decision because that's been granted part of the Constitution of the bylaws of the National Football League. You don't have to like the decision. It's not popular if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan or if you're Jerry Jones. But come on now. Now we've made this into a billionaire boys fight club just because you don't like the fact that your guy got suspended 6 games. Rules are rules. You don't have to like the rules, and if you don't like them, try to change them. But this is not the way to go about it if you're Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys.
No, and it reminds you of the good old Al Davis days, right, with the Raiders and Pete Rozelle. They had some few fights along the way, I can tell you that.
Yeah, Roger, and that's who was the mentor for Jerry Jones. This is exactly out of the Al Davis playbook. If you can't divide and conquer, at least put enough reasonable doubt in the minds of people where people start to see your side. And I guarantee you, Jerry Jones is starting to see the benefits of that because he got the perfect playbook from a guy that he respected so much in the late Al Davis.
And speaking of the Raiders, and one more from me, I'll let you go, Freddie. What's your thoughts? I mean, the game is in Mexico City. Raiders against the New England Patriots. Can you make a case for the Raiders maybe pulling off a little bit of an upset?
No, I'm trying to. Seriously, I still worry about their defense, even though it's a little bit better. But the Patriots get to this point of the season where more often than not, they're ramping up. They're not ramping down. And remember when the Patriots were thought to be in trouble and people worried about them? It seems so long ago now because whatever problems they had on defense, they've been able to fix. Whatever problems they had on offense, not having Julian Edelman, they've been able to fix that. In other words, the Patriots are becoming the Patriots once again, or they've become the Patriots once again. So the Raiders will give them a battle. But for my money, people talk about Philadelphia. That team that's still the best team in the NFL are the New England Patriots, and they're going to show that once again in Mexico City.
Freddie, you're the best, man. We appreciate it. As always, getting up and joining us here on the Friday show. It's a popular segment. We appreciate you and everything you do, and have a great weekend, man.
You too, my friend. And by the way, have a great Thanksgiving as well, and I'll talk to you next Friday.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Fred.
Thank you, Freddie.
Man.
Appreciate it. Freddie Coleman every Friday here on Big Board Sports on 104.5 at Team ESPN Radio.